How do you tie? Honestly, how do you tie in this game? A 40-40 tie versus the Dallas Cowboys is probably one of the most disgusting things I've seen in a long time. And man, there was a pretty disgusting thing in terms of football last week versus the Cleveland Browns. But now we head into the bye week, week 5, with more concerns about this Packers football team when this was supposed to be a bounce back game for this team, and it was for the offense. But now we're sitting here wondering what in the world just happened last night with this Packers defense. Special teams still an issue. There's a lot to unpack with this football game. There's a lot to go over, break down. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video, just talking about everything in this game. There's a lot. There's a lot of ugly in this game. There's some good. There's definitely some good, but there's a lot of ugly. There's a lot we need to talk about, break down, probably get a little ranty at times, but I'm sure you guys feel that as well. So let's get into this thing. Somehow the Green Bay Packers just ended with a tie in week 4 versus the Cowboys, 40-40. Now they head into their bye week, but after that, there's a ton of football games left. So right now is the perfect time to start finding tickets for a Green Bay Packers game. And that's why I want to give a massive shout out to today's video sponsor, SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and even more. With the NFL season now in full swing, that means tons of future football games, and more importantly, Packers games to potentially go to. Nothing is better than seeing the Green Bay Packers live in action. Right now, you can find amazing ticket deals on any of the upcoming Green Bay Packers regular season games. And if you want to find great deals on Packers tickets, SeatGeek has you covered. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 through 10, 1 being bad, 10 being amazing. Look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use code Basaraski10 to get 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any set of tickets with promo code Basaraski10. Make sure to go click the link in the description and download the app, and you'll automatically have that code added to use later. Again, a big thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. All right, so now back into the video. Diving down into this thing, the Packers here in week 4 get an overtime tie versus the Dallas Cowboys. And, this is a game that the Packers, it shouldn't have been this close at any point. There are so many times the Packers shot themselves in the foot with this game. I mean, first, I just want to talk about special teams. Before we dive into the offense and the defense, I feel like we just need to talk about this. And I've mentioned this before. I mean, Rich Bisaccia is the highest paid special teams coordinator in the NFL. Yet our special teams unit continues to create so many issues for this football team. We lose last week due to a blocked field goal. Jordan Morgan got blown up right up the center. Shelby Harris got a hand on it. Then in this week, a blocked extra point that gets returned for 2 points and essentially gets this game into overtime. Without that, the Packers win this game by 3, and we're not sitting here talking about a nasty overtime tie with the Dallas Cowboys. Not only that, we continue to have miscues on coverage team on kickoff. We continue to have dumb penalties on special teams. And then we also see Savion Williams multiple times, and credit to Brandon Aubrey. He's a wonderful kicker at moving the ball and putting it in places that's hard to return and getting it to bounce in the landing zone. But there were a couple times where it's like, why is Savion not taking it out of the end zone? It almost seemed like he wasn't coached in the regard that, hey, if it bounces in the landing zone into the end zone and you kneel it, we're starting at the 20, not the 35. It just doesn't seem like our special teams units, should I say, are ever prepared. Right? Like, I understand the Packers had a ton of offensive line injuries going into this game, and that's why that field goal, or extra point, should I say, unit got rushed and got, blown up and blocked. But you had all week to prepare for this, Rich. Like, we had all week. You signed Brant Banks to the active roster. You signed Lecitus Smith to the practice squad. You knew both of these guys will likely be on your special teams field blocking unit. You knew this all week. So why it continues to be an issue, and now 2 weeks in a row, we have a very crucial field goal / extra point blocked that changed the outcome of the game, is just inexcusable. And honestly, I think the conversation, it has to be had. Like, is it time to move on from Rich Bisaccia? Will the Packers do it? No, they won't, at least in 2025. Is it going to continue to hurt and handcuff the Green Bay Packers having such a poorly coached special teams unit? Yeah, it probably will in 2025. And that's why it hurts, because us Packers fans in the past have had some terrible, terrible, terrible special teams units that have, come to bite the Packers in games. And now in 2025, it seems like yet again, here's a poor special teams Green Bay Packers unit that obviously so much more happens in a game, but to this point, kind of lost us 2 football games. I mean, then we also have, tons of different players at punt return. It seems like the Packers just have no idea what they're doing at punt return. They put Golden back there. I saw Romeo Doubs back at punt return. It's like, can we not figure this out? Can we not find one special teams player on the open market? I thought it was McCole Hardman. Obviously, they released him, I think, last week. But we shouldn't be having our wide receiver 1 returning punts. Whether you think Dobbs is a wide receiver 1 or not, he showed it last night. He should not be returning punts. Nor should Golden, a first-round rookie. Like, you're going to get these guys hurt, especially Dobbs with his concussion history. It's just crazy that they continue to not know what they're doing at punt return and overall special teams across every aspect of it: kickoff, kick return, field goal, except for punt. That's the only thing. Daniel Whelan looks like one of the best punters in the NFL. Everything else has been abysmal. All right, so now let's dive down into the offense and defense, and let's start with the offense until we get into the defense and get a little ranty here. The offense looked great. Right after last week against the Cleveland Browns, albeit a very good defense, we expected the Packers offense to bounce back here in week 4 against a poor Dallas defense. And all things considered, scoring 40 points in this game, great on the offense. Jordan Love had a terrific day, in my opinion. Jordan Love really couldn't be stopped, right? 31 of 43, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, only got sacked once, had a 118.1 quarterback rating. I loved what I saw from Jordan Love last night, and honestly, I just wish Matt LaFleur didn't handcuff him. It seemed like in the end, he didn't trust Jordan Love, and it seemed throughout this entire game, the complacency by Matt LaFleur, it almost felt like, again, playing not to lose rather than playing to win. There's so many instances where we're sitting here wondering, why are we playing so soft? Why aren't we putting our foot on the gas, right? Stepping down and continuing to shred this poor Cowboys defense. There's certain points in this game where the offense did struggle a little bit, but to me, it was because I just didn't understand some of the play calls happening out there. And then, of course, at the end, in overtime, you have so much time after converting that 4th and 6, right? You have so much time to go down and potentially win this game. Your offense to this point hasn't been stopped. Like, there was 10 straight drives of points by both teams in this game to end this game out. Your offense wasn't being stopped. Yet we're running lateral type plays. We're running RPO bubbles, RPO swing passes, outside zone out of shotgun. It's like I didn't understand some of this stuff, and it seemed like they were so worried about Dallas getting the ball back in overtime that they ran out of time themselves and almost lost this game at the end with that last, hurry up call where Jordan Love's like, hey, I'm going to take a shot at the end zone because I still believe I can win this football game. I don't discredit him at all for trying that there at the back of the end zone, but the ball hit the ground and there's 1 second left. Like, that very well could have been a situation where, Love throws it a little bit higher, the ball gets tipped or something of that sort, and there's no time on the clock and the Packers walk away with a loss. Like, that could have happened. I think clock management in the end of this overtime was absolutely abysmal, and the Packers should have came away with a win in overtime here. And also, there shouldn't be ties in the NFL. This shouldn't happen. This was an electric game from the outside looking in. If you're not a Packers fan, wanting to put your head through a wall during this game, it's an electric game. Goes into overtime. Cowboys go right down after some crazy plays, kick a field goal. Packers have a chance to go win the game. It shouldn't be a 10-minute period. It should be at least 12, maybe even 15, And honestly, no game should end in a tie. It's just, at this rate, it's not good entertainment for a football game to end in a tie that was so electric up until that point. Now, one thing that continues to seem like an issue for Jordan Love, although, like I said, his game's not on him. I think Love had a wonderful day, is his ability to read RPOs. Multiple times in this game, it seems like he didn't make the right call with an RPO, whether he's handing it off to Jacobs or Wilson, and the RPO, the pass option is wide open, and he still hands it to the running back, or vice versa. It still seems like that's an issue, but at the same time, I don't know why we're running so many RPOs with Jordan Love. I like RPOs. I think they're a good way to dictate the defense and pick on, their personnel and where their hat counts at. I like them. But when we're in times of need of moving the football and your offense is doing so well throwing the football past the line of scrimmage against this inept Cowboys defense, why are we throwing so laterally? Why are we throwing behind the line of scrimmage to Matthew Golden on a bubble when we have a lot of time and a timeout to go win this game in overtime against a Cowboys defense that couldn't stop you at that point? They could not stop you through the air, and you're running a bubble screen to the outside. Yeah, Romeo Doubs has to get his block, but at the same time, why are you even running that when everything else vertically has been working and it's been there? And I think the Packers, really played to tie there. I think Matt LaFleur honestly played to tie there, and it's infuriating. As for the Packers' run game, early on, it was still a rough day for this O-line. I can't really hold any annoyance towards Josh Jacobs at this point, right? He still only averaged 3.9 yards per carry, but a lot of the times he's getting contacted at or behind the line of scrimmage. Like when you look at the advanced stats from Josh Jacobs throughout the first 4 weeks of the season, a lot of his yards are after contact. So I can't even be mad at Josh Jacobs. He's doing his best with what he's given. And yes, the run game picked up heavily later in this game, like start of the fourth quarter. Josh Jacobs started cooking a bit. He finished with 22 carries, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. Had that really nice, touchdown late in the game. Emmanuel Wilson, awesome day for him. 8 carries, 44 yards, 5.5 average. Jordan Love even ran the ball well. Had that long of 25, his second longest run in his career. 3 carries, 28 yards. Matthew Golden had a carry, I believe, on an end around for 5 yards. Savion Williams had a carry, only for 1 yard. The Packers tried to run a double pass from Savion to Love. Didn't work, but I figured they'd be trying to draw something up like that after I saw some Wildcat packages with Savion the past couple of weeks. But overall, the Packers, running 35 times, 164 yards, 4.7 average, 2 touchdowns. Like if I saw that stat line, not knowing the end result, I would think the Packers won this game because it's like, hey, they finally started to find a little bit of success running the football. And they should have. Like the Cowboys' run defense isn't anything to write home about. They honestly should have found more success. The only reason they didn't is because this run blocking O-line continues to be so poor. And albeit without Zach Tom, or without Aaron Banks, and you bring Aaron Banks into the building to be that run blocking guard. Now you have Jordan Morgan, more of an agile pass protecting guy at left guard in this game, and he's just pretty abysmal at run blocking. Elton Jenkins has been really rough the past couple of weeks. Sean Ryan's, average. He does his job from time to time. At right tackle, you had Darian Kennard. He had some penalties in this game. Rasheed Walker has continued to look awful ever since mentioning that they could go undefeated. I mean, he got beat multiple times in this game against a Cowboys pass rush that couldn't even get Caleb Williams on the ground last week. I mean, this offensive line was a massive strong point of this football team last year, and it was going into week 3. Like weeks 1 and 2, they looked good. Then they looked terrible in week 3, which you're like, okay, you chalk it up as the Browns defense, you chalk it up as Myles Garrett, but then you go into week 4, even with the injuries to Zach Tom and Aaron Banks, you expect them to bounce back because of how inept this defensive line is for the Dallas Cowboys. A credit to Kenny Clark, he had a wonderful game, but outside of that, like throughout this season so far, the Cowboys get very, very little pressure, like bottom of the league in pressure, sack rate, all of that. And Jordan Love only got sacked 1 time, and mainly I'm talking about run blocking here, but there were still times where Jordan Love did get pressured, and you're sitting here wondering, like, is this offensive line going to ever clean it up? Like after that Browns game, it just seems like this offensive line is just in shambles right now. And the bye came at a perfect time because we really, really, really need Zach Tom back. And, If Zach Tom and Aaron Banks return, maybe we start having the conversation that Jordan Morgan needs to be at left tackle. Whatever you think about Jordan Morgan, if he's played poor, he's been stretched between a lot of different positions, and I still think his best position will be at left tackle. And Rasheed Walker's, not playing well at all right now. And just overall, this offensive line it needs to play better. Now, as for the Packers in the receiving game, again, it was a nice day for Jordan Love. It was also a really nice day through the air for Josh Jacobs. 4 receptions, 71 yards, a 17.8 average. I feel like the Packers utilized the screen game in this game a lot, which I love because it's something that they went away from against the Browns when it was working. Romeo Doubs, man, what a game for him. Just continues to show that he is the most clutch receiver on the team when you need it. If it's third down and short or third and goal, whatever, when you need it, Romeo Doubs is going to be the guy there with strong hands to make that play. Finished with 6 catches, 58 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And I was losing it every time he scored, just going up to the camera, making goofy faces. I mean, it was cracking me up. Shout out Romeo Doubs, man. A guy that just, a lot of time gets a lot of flack in terms of, no emotion or the Packers should trade him. He's not a true number 1 wide receiver, yet he goes out here and puts up 3 touchdowns like it's nothing. Shout out Romeo. What a wonderful day. And then Matthew Golden, tied his yardage mark, 5 catches, 58 yards. Really nice day for him. That early catch where it seemed like Love had both Wicks and him deep, and Gold went up, grabbed that thing. Golden on the 4th down in overtime was the guy that they trusted there. Very strong hands, and you could see, when it matters, Golden can also go out there and make a play. They continue to involve him more and more, which is great to see. Kraft had 5 catches for 56 yards. A lot of people got involved. Emmanuel Wilson, 3 for 37. Again, in the screen game there, the Packers tore them up with screens, at least to the running backs. Savion Williams, 3 for 22. He got some utilization in the passing game, which is kind of a first. Dontavian Wicks, I thought, should have got more action early in this game. We saw late he beat a couple players on some slant routes. I thought he should have got more action early in this game. He went 2 for 19. Malik Heath, I believe, got his sole catch in overtime, 1 for 9. Musgrave got a catch. Chris Brooks got a catch. So the Packers, they spread the ball around a lot. I didn't have any issues with this passing offense. I more so had issues with the play calls that were coming in. And it just felt like LaFleur didn't really trust Jordan Love too much in this game, which it's like why he was having a very good game. And it's just a little bit of a head scratcher. Then, of course, there's the whole, trying to score points before half when you have, I believe, a couple timeouts or 1 timeout there. And you're like, why are we being aggressive now? And then earlier in the game, you're like 4th and short at the 50, up by 7 points, and you punt it. Yeah, the Cowboys didn't end up scoring on that. I get that. But I would just really like to see more consistency in terms of being aggressive for Matt LaFleur. It seems like certain times he is, certain times he isn't. And obviously hindsight is 2020. So the Packers fumbling at the end of the half and giving the Cowboys the lead right thereafter makes you definitely question the Packers' aggressiveness there. Whereas if it worked, you would be loving the aggressiveness. I get that. But my point is, there just needs to be more consistency. Like, if you're going to be aggressive there, why aren't you aggressive at 4th and 1.5 yard at the 50 when your offense is rolling? Like, you don't believe you can pick up 1.5 yards against this Dallas defense that you've been rolling so far? That's the concern I have with that. I just think LaFleur needs to be more consistent with when he's aggressive. All right, so now we got to go over the defense, but quickly, I want to go over my sleeper picks from last night. Go check out Sleeper, link down in the description. Use code BASS when making a first-time deposit. Get that matched 100% up to $100. And my picks last night, I had Micah Parsons more than a half a sack. He did end up getting this. It was very close to the line of scrimmage. Really saved the game from being won by the Dallas Cowboys there. Micah Parsons was getting held all night, I'm going to be completely honest, and we'll talk more about it, but he did hit that mark. Matthew Golden, more than 3.5 receptions. He ended up with 5, so that hit. Dak Prescott, less than 235.5. Obviously, this didn't hit. The Cowboys offense had way too much success against the Packers defense, and that's what we're diving into next. And then I had Josh Jacobs, more than 75.5 rushing yards. That hit as well. So the only thing that didn't hit in this pick slip is the less than 235.5 for Dak Prescott. So it's a shame because this defense, had such a great first 3 weeks, and you go against a Dallas offense, which, albeit Dak has been playing some really, really good football, but without CeeDee Lamb, you don't expect them to go and put 40 on you. That's for sure. So if you want to check out Sleeper, click the link down in the description. Use code BASS when signing up. Yeah, so this defense, man, going into the bye, I didn't expect to be sitting here wondering what in the world just happened. Is our defense good? Like, through the first 2 weeks, we were considered one of the best defenses in the NFL. Even after week 3, albeit the Browns won, it's like, hey, we still held them to 0 points at half. The Browns didn't score a touchdown until the fourth quarter, and it was mainly because the offense putting them in position to score. And then this week, it's like a complete 180. And this defense, I mean, it looked terrible. It looked absolutely terrible. And again, Dak Prescott has been playing at a super high level. He's a very underrated quarterback this year. And, you know, he knows how to command offense. And the Cowboys had a wonderful plan against this Packers defense. Kind of what I wanted them to do last week, what I wanted the Packers to do last week. They ran a lot of play action. They moved the pocket away from Micah Parsons, and they got the ball out of Dak's hand quickly. They didn't really have a chance to sack Dak, and the times that they did, there was a lot of holding out there. Again, don't let it come down to the refs. But, man, there's a lot of plays, and I can't wait to watch the tape on it. But, I mean, Micah was held a lot. I saw 3 or 4 separate hands to the face occasions that were not called. I saw him being pretty much clotheslined around the neck when he was about to get to Dak Prescott. And the Cowboys' offensive line was an injured unit as well. Yet the Packers only got us 1 sack late in that game for no loss there and didn't pressure as much as we all expected them to. But that's also because the Cowboys had such a great game plan to get the ball out of Dak's hand quickly. But even when they didn't run play action or get the ball out of his hand quickly, he still had a decent amount of time back there to find a receiver downfield. And just a very poor performance by this front 7 that was so great through 3 weeks. You know, I didn't hear much of Rashawn Gary's name, Lucas Van Ness. You obviously heard Micah Parsons' name because they couldn't stop talking about him during this game, of course. And then obviously Devontae Wyatt leaving with injury, I think absolutely destroyed this defense. I think the Packers didn't allow a point for the Cowboys on offense until Devontae Wyatt left. And albeit it was only 13 snaps he played before that point. But Devontae Wyatt, it seems like he is like the thing that makes the wheel turn in this front 7 right now. You know, once he left, the Cowboys had so much success in the interior in terms of blocking. You know, we need guys to step up in that situation. You need guys like Carl Brooks to step up. Nazir Stackhouse, right? I know he's not a pass rusher, and that's a lot of people's argument. Like, hey, well, if he's out there, like, we're not going to get any pass rush quality out of him. You need guys like Colby Wooden to step up. Lucas Van Ness if you kick him inside, right? And it simply just didn't happen. The Cowboys had no problem sitting back there, finding a receiver open. They really didn't have a problem running the football either. Williams, 20 carries, 85 yards, 4.3 average. Overall as a team, the Cowboys ran 26 times, 117 yards, 4.5 average, and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, they had too much success. This offensive line had way too much success given how much talent we have on this front 7. You know, Dak finished a very efficient 31 of 40, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, a quarterback rating of 124.9. And this is without his premier number 1 wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb, right? That can't happen. The defensive backs were abysmal in this game. Early on, Keyshawn Nixon, I thought, making some great plays. Then everything just went to shit. We had Nate Hobbs getting absolutely torched all game and picked on. We had Carrington Valentine missing tackles, not covering players well. We had Keyshawn Nixon giving up on the play late in the game that went to Tolbert, that terrific throw and catch on the sideline. Overall, the defensive backs they did not look good. Even Xavier McKinney I saw out there out of position a couple times, missing some tackles. He didn't look good. Overall, man, obviously this was a concern heading into the season. You know, this defensive backfield being the issue for this defense. And now you see, when you don't get pressure, then you start to see the issues with the defensive backs, right? Obviously, when you get so much pressure, when you get sacks on the quarterback and you get to them quickly, it's going to make your cornerbacks look better. Been saying that on this channel a lot, and you can't cover forever. So the fact that the Packers also couldn't get pressure just really showcased that, hey, these cornerbacks can get beat and they can get picked on. And all of them did. I think all of them had a pretty poor game. I think overall, a lot of players on this defense had a poor game. I think it was probably the worst game of Edgerrin Cooper's career in this game. He missed a ton of tackles. Now, he still finished with 7 tackles and had a pass defense, but man, it was rough. Like, there's times he was flying right into the run lane, and it's like, Adrian Cooper about to see that boom play from him, and he just missed the tackle. I mean, I'm interested to see the PFF and how many missed tackles that he had. The one player actually in the entire defense that I thought had a wonderful game was Quay Walker. Early on, flying around, had 11 total tackles, a tackle for loss, 6 solo tackles. Really liked what I saw from Quay Walker. I mean, it just did not look good. The lack of pressure, missed tackles, and then lack of energy. Just weeks 1 and 2. What we were talking about with this defense was, wow, so much energy. Like, guys are flying around, swarming to the football. There's so much energy. In this game, they looked tired, and albeit they played a lot. Like, I get it. They looked tired. They weren't swarming. They were missing tackles. They were giving up on plays, and you can't have that. To be considered a top defense in this league, which the Packers should be, given the talent that they have and the trade that they made for Parsons, you can't have that. You can't have players with a lack of energy, giving up on plays, missing tackles. The defense was why the Packers tied this game. I was about to say lost this game, which it honestly feels like that. It honestly feels like a loss, but the defense is why the Packers tied this game. But guys, overall, it's just a pretty nasty way to head into the bye. Like, the Packers were 2-0 through the first 2 weeks against two great NFC opponents, the Detroit Lions, the Washington Commanders. And then since then, you're just sitting here wondering, what in the world is going on? You lose to the Browns, you tie to the Cowboys, now we head into the bye week, right? And you have a lot of questions about this football team. It seems like a lot as a Packers fan, and I'm sure you guys can resonate with this. You feel like when one unit is on fire, the other one is terrible. Like, when the defense is on fire, the offense can't move the football. When the offense is on fire, the defense is terrible. And the special teams just happen to be consistently terrible most of the time. But I feel like that's just been a reoccurring theme as a Packers fan for the last, over a decade. Like, honestly, past Matt LaFleur, even to Mike McCarthy, it's like every time the offense was clicking, well, nope, defense can't get a stop, and vice versa. I feel like that was definitely the case last night. That was the case last week. Weeks 1 and 2 were great, but, right now the Packers now are sitting at 2-1-1. I mean, they still haven't lost at AT&T Stadium, right, guys? Right? I'm totally not coping here. They haven't lost at AT&T Stadium, so that's good. And maybe the Packers end up winning the NFC North by a half a game. Totally still not coping, but maybe that ends up happening. Overall, I just hate a tie. A tie is disgusting, and it's even more disgusting when it feels like your coach was playing for the tie at the end. You just want a little bit more aggressiveness. I'm not in the whole camp of fire Matt LaFleur. I'm not. You may be. I'm simply not. I still think he's a very, very good football coach. He just gets complacent too often, and that needs to go. Like, that 100% needs to go. You need to have trust in your quarterback, and this should have been no question a game that you trusted Jordan Love to fire the football down the field and win you the game. He was doing a good job at it. Yet we get complacent late in overtime, like we have to drain the clock down so the Dallas Cowboys don't even have 15 seconds to go beat us, because maybe they would have, but you got to play to win the game. You go down, you call play calls to go score a touchdown and win the damn game. You don't call in plays to drain the clock and make sure the Dallas Cowboys don't get the ball back. And if that so happens that we tie because of it, then so be it. Like, obviously a tie is better than a loss, but the complacency at the end there, that's what annoys me. And it's just, it's something that definitely needs to be addressed and hopefully fixed. Like, the Packers need to have full faith, or Matt LaFleur needs to have full faith in Jordan Love, his offense, to go out there and make a play and win this game. And honestly, I think given that the right play calls came in, I think the Packers do end up winning the game. I think if they had a little bit more up-tempo, a little bit more energy there at the end, and just played to their strengths and said, hey, we're going to beat you, and we're going to beat you because we know we can, rather than care about the clock at all, I think the Packers walk away with a victory in this game. But they didn't. So those are all my instant thoughts and reactions to this game. Again, apologize if it got a little ranty, but I'm sure you guys resonate with a lot of it. There's a lot of flying opinions out there, and as there should be. The Packers, kind of teased us with what the team could be through the first 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks in a row, we're sitting here wondering what in the world just happened. And now we head into a bye week, which, early buys usually I hate, but I don't think this could come at a better time right now with how the Packers need to get things fixed and get healthy as well. So I'm kind of glad we have a week 5 bye. Then we head to play Cincinnati. I think it's a home game, but we play Cincinnati there in week 6, Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati. And it's like, if we can't stop their offense, I mean, I don't even know what in the world's going on, but I said that this should be a bounce back game, but after the bye, it should be a bounce back game for mainly the defense, but for just this football team as a whole. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different flying opinions around and stuff, and there should be. It's a rough game to end up last night in a tie. It is. I can't sugarcoat it. It really is. But I do appreciate you guys coming by to the channel. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all the support. Apologize, I didn't end up live streaming last night. Something came up, but I appreciate you guys still coming by to the reaction video here this morning. But I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.